sure I got everything here. Yes. All right. You catch much football this weekend?
Yeah, I watched a little bit.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. All right. Here we go. Three, two, one.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Bleav in Colts Pot. And I just messed that all up, but oh well, who cares? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is Jerraud Powers. And because of the early week of this week, our other co-host Rodney McLeod's not able to make it with us today. Was Saturday games a thing for you, Jerraud, back then?
Nah, I don't think I ever played on a Saturday. Not that I remember. I was actually trying to think about it a few days ago, and I don't think I played on a Saturday in the league.
Yeah. The Colts have had a few Saturday games the past couple years, and it's kind of new, kind of interesting. But I get having a Saturday game when college is out.
Right.
That's fine. When college is done, then the Saturday games should bring in a little bit of extra. Because they're the only games on at the time. So that's good to watch. But we're gonna go over this past weekend's games, and oh my, there were some surprises, and in all honesty, some things that I kind of expected. I honestly thought the Niners were going to utterly blow out the team they were playing, right? The Buccaneers. I didn't think they were going to be that bad. I thought, 14 points, not 35-7. What'd you see from the Niners hosting the Buccaneers?
I think you see just a well coached team. I think you see guys that's really prepared. I mean, obviously they got one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in football. They're hot right now on that side of the ball, and then when you look at the other side of the ball, you lose, two starting quarterbacks, and all of a sudden you're down to your third string quarterback, and he looks like he's clicking on all cylinders for these first two games. So, and then Debo had a little scared, which came back. I think high ankle sprain, MCL sprain. So that was good news for them because it looked bad when I was watching it. But I mean, you still got playmakers all over the field. You still got, CMC. You still got Kittle. Their wide receivers making big time plays. I think you just got a well rounded machine, a team that's full of good vets, and they're helping bringing the young guys that's been got their number called. They're just helping them bring them along, and it's a crucial part of the season.
Yeah, you brought up a few of those players, like obviously, Brandon Ayuk is over there,
Yes.
and you check right. But is do you put how well the offense is playing, no matter what quarterback is on there, with the players? Shanahan being able to make it easy, maybe for the quarterback, no matter who it is, or do you think it's just they're just good as a unit to be able to allow just it seems like any quarterback walk in and play well for them.
I think it's a little mixture of both. Obviously you want the guys that's doing the game plan, all the coaches to put guys in position to succeed. And that's what they're doing. Kyle Shanahan, for years has been known as one of the better coaches in the league. Everybody respects Kyle Shanahan's mind when it comes to the offense, and obviously he knows how to run a football team with the success, that he's been having with San Fran. But you got to give credit to the players. I mean, those are the guys that got to go out there and play. It just shows you that these guys are well prepared, and it seems like they're a team with a bigger picture in mind. It's a team with Super Bowl aspirations, and that's how they're going about it. And it's kind of cool to see. Like I said, your third string quarterback comes in and he's making some throws that we didn't see from the other two quarterbacks. He's standing in the pocket. He don't look like a rookie. He's not, he don't have the happy feet, or he don't look, too anxious. I mean, the guy look poised under the center, and obviously Kyle Shanahan has changed the game plan to make him feel more comfortable in what he can do.
Absolutely. I want to kind of divert back to our own division. The Colts still have mathematically a chance to even win the division. right?
Yeah.
After the Titans have been falling the last few weeks, just like the Colts have. Jaguars go in and go in to Nissan
Mm-hmm.
and beat the doors off of them 36-22. What do you think about that?
It was a shocker. I mean, that was a shocker, but I'm not going to sit here and say that, Jacksonville is this horrible team. I think we've all, said that Jacksonville is kind of on a, come up. It's not the same old Jacksonville. They're very competitive. They got some good players, but when you look at the Titans and how they've been kind of dominating the division this year, you just didn't see that coming. But, the Titans kind of had I guess some turmoil, some problems within the organization. Last week you go to Philly and have a horrible loss, and your GM gets fired. So it's a lot of things that's kind of being shaken up in the Titans organization right now that could have caused, well, not caused, but could have been a part of that loss to Jacksonville. But I expect the Titans to kind of get things back in order. I mean, Vrabel is a hell of a coach, obviously. The defense is definitely going to have to tighten up. I think their secondary is kind of letting them down right now, but got to get Derrick Henry back going some way, somehow, get the O-line back blocking how they normally block. But I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here watching this, and then I go over, and look at the previous game. The Texans made a game out of the Cowboys. Oh my goodness!
Had the game. I thought they were going to win it.
Me too.
I mean, Dak. I don't know what's up with Dak. Ever since he came back from his injury, I think he's leading the league in interceptions since he came back. I think it's been 8 weeks. He got 8 or 9 interceptions. The past 8 weeks, and he don't look as confident as he normally do. I mean, it's a different look on his face with him been struggling a little bit. And, they've been relying heavily on their defense to make plays for him, and they still have been. But one thing Dak did do is have a 98-yard winning drive to win that game. But some of the throws that he was making in the course of that game was kind of shaky to me. Didn't look like the Dak that we're accustomed to seeing.
Absolutely. And, I'm sitting here, with the Texans, who have one win in their record right now, and they made a game out of the Cowboys. Does that make our game the week prior against the Cowboys look that even worse?
I wouldn't say that. The week prior, you got primetime game, and the Colts are still one of the better defenses. I mean, it's still a respected team that you can't just walk out on the field and beat. You're going to have to execute and do things the right way. But when you have a game like that, and then the following week you're playing, the Texans, which, two teams in the same state, familiar with one another, hate one another, big game in that aspect for the state, you would expect them to come out with a little bit more fire than they did on offense. And this might be one of those, few times that we've seen Dallas offense look kind of lackadaisical, if that's the right term for it. And it really starts with the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there a game that completely and utterly surprised you besides the game that we just talked about?
Let me see. I will say probably. Oh yeah, the Lions and Vikings. I know we got the Vikings coming in. We got to go to the Vikings, this Saturday and play them. And they're coming off a bad loss, to the Lions. And, got to give respect to the Lions. Got to tip my hat to them. Their offense have been clicking, here of late. But you just, didn't think a 10-2 team that's been playing well as the Vikings to go, and play that bad. They just look bad versus the Lions. So that was kind of a shocker to me. If I had a parlay going, I would have definitely had the Vikings on that parlay, and I would have been pissed off about that one.
Well, I kind of looked at it, and I thought this was going to be a really high-scoring game. It still scored, 57 overall?
Yeah.
But I looked at the Vikings defense. It's not that great. They got a couple guys over there, but overall the defense is the Vikings and the Lions are very similar teams when they both have very high powered offenses, but their defenses kind of, give up a lot of yards. I think the Vikings average 400 yards given up defensively per game. Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot of yards. Kind of a bend don't break type situation. Maybe give up a lot of yards and hold them to field goals. But yeah, that's going to be interesting, heading down to the end of the season, getting into the playoffs, because you're going to need you're not going to be able to give up that many yards and win when it matters. So you're going to need your defense to kind of step it up a little bit.
Absolutely. That will be something that we'll talk about on the next episode with the Colts. But another game that I thought that was kind of surprised. I thought the Giants was going to make more of a game against the Eagles. In all honesty, as a matter of fact, didn't Rodney pick the Giants to win this game?
Rodney did. Rodney did. I'm gonna have to give him some slack about that one. But talking about the Eagles and the Giants, you're talking about a division rivalry. Both teams are good. Both teams are having great years. And I think the Eagles, wanted to make a statement, wanted to prove a point that, they can handle, facing teams that they know they should beat, teams that they feel like they're better than, and they're not taking anybody lightly. I think Jalen Hurts have done a good job in kind of making that entire team have his type of mentality. And it's all, seriousness. It's all about the business. I saw a video clip, and it's A.J. Brown and a couple receivers are on the sideline, and they're laughing, joking around. The game was out of reach at this point, and literally Jalen Hurts is sitting right next to him, and he never cracked a smile, was just dialed in, still focused. So I think that's the face of that team. They got a good leader that's leading them right now, and they're having a hell of a year.
Absolutely. The Eagles right now are just dominating. It seems like just about everyone except for that one loss that hit them. The 12-1 though. Wow,
I'm looking forward to seeing. I want to say it's Christmas Day or it's coming up soon. I'm looking forward to the Eagles Cowboys matchup because it's gonna mean a lot. But I want to ask you: do you think Jalen Hurts is front runner for MVP?
That's a good. Well, it's the thing, right? In my opinion, there's quite a few out there, but Jalen is the guy right now for he's the reason why they are where they're at. Mm-hmm. I mean, because he makes the plays that needs to be made, whether it's on the ground or through the air. So yeah, I can imagine that he would be front runner right now.
If you had to choose him or because Pat Mahomes is having a hell of a year as well. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow and what he's doing, he might be in that conversation. I might be jumping the gun with that a little bit, but I want to say he might be in that conversation. But if you had to choose between Jalen and Pat, which one will you give your vote to?
In all honesty, with the division that the Eagles are in, and you see, you look at the NFC East, and every team in that division right now is in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Every team, and they fight division. Every team in that division twice. Whereas Patrick Mahomes, the in his division, it doesn't look as good. So I kind of have to give it to Jalen and the Eagles at this point.
I agree. No, I'm with you. I think I will give my vote, even though Pat's having a hell of a year. And his best weapon that he's had for the past few years is on another team, and he's proved that. He can be the center focus and, the guy that makes everybody better around him. I think I still will have to give my vote to Jalen because nobody expected Jalen to play as good as he's been playing this year.
No. And you got a lot of people out there going, he was a second round pick. Why didn't our team? And, hindsight's 2020, right? You can't always take those guys out.
Because last year when they played his rookie year, even he got him to the playoff, but they struggled. He was kind of up and down all year. But I thought it was like a real good successful type season by him just getting to the playoffs, and maybe them getting to the playoffs was something that, sparked in him or something that clicked in him. And, he's been playing lights out, man, since the season started.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's not like he's out there doing it himself. I mean, obviously the GM out there has been, who's that?
Roseman. I think Roseman.
Yeah.
He's done a hell of a job putting that team together.
Yes, he has, man. There's a lot of really good playmakers on both sides of that ball right there.
Yep.
Man, let's take a look at yesterday's game, Monday Night Football. Oh my goodness, is there a certain head coach that week after week just looks like his job is even more and more and more in trouble?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's not just say the head coach. I think you got to put the GM in that category with him, man. Hopefully, I don't know what the reports came back on Kyler Murray. It didn't look good, non-contact, going down the way that he did. They do got a solid backup in Colt McCoy. He's proven that he can play and he can win. But Patriot. I think I picked the Patriots to win this one. I think, but you just don't expect the Cardinals to look, like they're looking, and all the things that's been going on with the head coach and the quarterback, and and all those type of stuff. I think it's just time clock counting down until we get that headline to say that someone's been fired, whether it's the GM or the head coach. And I'm not a guy to advocate firings, but I think everybody can kind of see the writing on the wall with this one.
Oh yeah, I think so as well. We've been talking about it for weeks, and it just doesn't get any. It's not looking any better week after week after week. I mean, I get that they went up against the Patriots. Bill Belichick, he knows how to deal with certain situations. That defense is scary.
No, Judon, they got it. My guy Judon. I was just about to say that. He's a dog, man. I played with Judon his rookie year, and I'll tell you a quick story with Judon. I remember his rookie year. I mean, he's under Terrell Suggs, and Suggs is giving him all the gems, like on what to do, how to become a great pass rusher and all that. I remember having a conversation with him. It was just like, yeah, next year you're going to be the guy. Suggs is going to leave, and then you're going to make a name for yourself. Then the next year you're going to do this and do that, and then boom, you're going to be one of the highest paid pass rushers in the league. And, ever since he's been in New England, he's proven that, he's still one of the best in the league. And I think he's done a tremendous job in becoming one of the better leaders on that defense. And he's doing a hell of a job, man. I mean, every game it seems like he's making a play or two that just can change the game.
And well, to this point, it's been 2 years now with the Patriots, and he's been a stud pass rusher, not just pass rushing, right? But just an overall
player.
Yep. Overall player over there in New England. And it makes you kind of wonder why would the Ravens let him go walk the field? I mean, I get that he wanted some money, but when you have a guy that's that dominant, was he, you just got done saying that you and Suggs and everybody, you figured that he was going to be, this guy. Obviously, the rest of the Ravens do that too, and they still let him go.
The Ravens do a good job in knowing the personnel that fits their system. I mean, he's not the first pass rusher to come over there and walk away. And, but normally when you look at the Ravens defense, they're going to always have some great pass rushers, whether it's a rookie, whether it's a second, third year guy, or whether it's a veteran that they're bringing in. So I think it's certain positions over there that they know that they can kind of replace, because my guy that was with the Packers last year, I just went blank there. He's going to kill me. He was with the Ravens as well, was drafted. Now he's with the Vikings. The best pass rusher the Vikings got.
Freaking got 8.5 sacks right now.
I just went blank there. He's gonna kill me from it. He's from Alabama too. But he was also on that same team, when I was with the Ravens, and they let him walk as well, and he became one of the highest paid pass rushers in the league. But yeah, man, Judon got a lot more ball left to play, and he's doing a hell of a job. But talking about the Patriots though, did you see the clip where Mac Jones was kind of looking back at the sideline? I guess they was trying to get Mac Jones' attention, and he kind of looked back, and you can read his lips, and he was like, F off. And I think he was talking to, the OC, the guy that was the head coach last year with the Lions or whatnot, and it seemed like he started calling his own plays. But I think Mac Jones has kind of established himself as like, look, I'm going to be the leader of this offense. We're going to do what I kind of want to do, what I like to do, and that's just what it is.
Well, I mean, that's great for the players, but does that put a bad thing when your coach, coaches wise, I mean, that's,
maybe, maybe, but Belichick never named the OC, so maybe, he was talking to ghosts, so you never know.
While we were talking about that, I remember that's Zay, man, Zarius Smith, right?
Zarius Smith, my guy, Z, guy Z.
Yeah, he because I was like, man, Green Bay. But yeah, it is what it is. That's something that we're going to have to talk about here after a bit. But there was a game that surprised the holy snot out of me this week. And I'll tell you what, I didn't expect the Broncos to give the Chiefs a game. especially offensively. They had 28 points right there, and I thought the Broncos had a real shot there near the end of the game. So, what's
Yeah,
going on there?
I think Russ probably had his best game of the year. I mean, it looked like the
Mm-hmm.
old Russ. And, whenever it looks like the old Russ, of course, whatever team he's playing for should, look good. And, it was unfortunate he went out with that head injury.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to go back to the rivalry standpoint. The Chiefs and Broncos have had a long rivalry going, forever. So when it comes to those rival games, you just never know what might happen. But again, it shows the will and determination of the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes and figuring out a way to win as well.
Yeah, because the Broncos, their defense is real, right?
Yeah, they got some players. Yeah.
We know, it was a 12-9 game, against the Colts because it was just defense and everything, right? So,
Yeah.
On that Thursday night football game, I didn't expect, as good as Mahomes and the Chiefs has been, I didn't expect it to be a 34-28 game. I thought it was going to be, a 21-17, 21-12, something like that in the Chiefs' favor. Not 62 points being thrown up there. One of the highest scoring games this past weekend.
No, you're right. Got to go back to what the safety for the Titans said when they was asking him about the bad loss versus Jacksonville, man. There's no bad teams in the league. It's any given Sunday. You got to strap them up and play, and anybody can get beaten at any time.
Absolutely. And I think, is there any news or anything else you want to talk about this past week in sports before we end this?
In the NFL, I think it was kind of one of those weekends to where all the teams that you expected to win either had a close game or a bad game and lost. And, normally in the NFL towards the end of the year, a lot like, for instance, the Eagles already clinched, in the playoffs, and a lot of people, and already got their mindsets on vacations and stuff. So you start to see a little bit of bad ball with a few teams toward the end of the year, and I think this was one of those weeks.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Carolina upsetting Seattle, right?
Yes.
So yeah, and that was something that no one expected, I don't think. So, yeah, as you say, any given Sunday. Especially towards the end of the year when injuries and weariness starts to kick in.
We got to talk about Baker Mayfield. I've been killing him. I've been down on Baker Mayfield, man. I gotta give him his props. I don't think anybody understand how hard it is to, get signed by a team on Tuesday and or on Wednesday and have to play on Sunday. And we're talking about the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to be able to go and learn a system as quickly as he can and do whatever he can to help that team get a victory when they've been struggling all year, and then have to lead a team on a 98-yard drive to win a game. I got to shout out Baker and give him his props, because there's been a lot of people killing him this year, including myself. I've said some things that, he wasn't ready for and all those type things as far as his play in Carolina. And it's just wild to see. The NFL is a wild year. And like you said, then you watch Carolina and Sam Darnold goes to Seattle and beat a hot Seattle team. So it's just crazy. It was a crazy week of football, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be some crazy more weeks coming up.
Absolutely. Two guys that have had, off times, right?
Off years. Yeah. Been an off year for both.
Yeah. Sam Darnold's kind of had an off year for a while, but
but I can't blame Sam though. He's in a situation as a rookie in New York where, he didn't have the pieces around. And sometimes when you get drafted that high, it doesn't mean like you're ready to start. Sometimes some guys need some development. I just felt like he was just kind of thrown in the fire, and, we might see a better Sam Darnold, in the later part of his career.
There's nothing worse than walking into a team that doesn't have an offensive line and weapons, and then you have to face Bill Belichick twice a year.
Right.
You start seeing, the whole seeing ghosts thing is real. I feel like, because I think Matt Ryan has been seeing ghosts a lot this year because of, the lack of protection and stuff. But, yep, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. My name is Lawrence Owen. That's Jerraud Powers. And as usual, until next time, have a good one. Go Colts.
Do you Bleav?
Hey, I think you forgot to do the yeah.
I realized that 10 minutes in.
I was gonna say it, but then it would have stopped the flow. So
Yeah. I'll just do it on this one
yeah,
and then cut it in.
yeah.
It's all good. Excuse me. Let me bring up there we go. Yeah. Oh my, they got Darasol's out.
Who's out?
Christian Darasol, their left tackle, is out.
Oh, okay.
And Garrett Bradbury is hurt as well. Jordan Hicks is hurt. Harrison Smith is hurt. Oh my. Harrison Smith is their dog in the backfield.
Yep. Him and Patrick Peterson.
Patrick Peterson. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right.
It's that time of the year.
It is. And the Colts should be fairly healthy walking in. I mean, they ought to be, you would think.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Bleav in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Jerraud Powers. And Jerraud, we've had a bye week. We got 2 weeks, before their next game. Is that enough time for the Colts to get healthy?
Depending on what you're dealing with, but overall, generally, yeah, you got a lot of people that had, or that have a bunch of nicks, bruises, some things that's probably been bothering them for weeks. So that extra time always helps for sure.
Yeah, and you figure, I know a lot of players. Do players would they rather have it like week 8, week 9, or this late in the season for a playoff push?
I think most players would like to have it like right at the middle. Sometimes when you have it late, it knocks off your routine, make you relax a little bit when you're at a time to where it's crunch time and it's a certain type of level of urgency that you need. I remember, I want to say 2015, we ended up in Arizona being like the number 1 seed. I think we finished 13-3 or whatnot, but our bye week was like week 3, week 4. So we had to run off like 12 straight games, and that stuff gets tough, man. I mean, it gets tough. Those Wednesday practices, Thursday practices when, it's late in the season and you haven't had a break in so long. So most guys probably would say they would like it right at the halfway mark.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. But at this point, I would assume, even if it is a little bit later, at least your nicks and bruises are get a chance to heal up. So it's better, in my opinion. A bye week is much better to have later in the season than say week 5.
Right? Oh, for sure. I'll take one later than week 5. That's for sure. Week 5, because at the beginning of the season, everything's fresh. Like you're still excited about everything. Everything still feels, right at the beginning. And then all of a sudden you get to week 8, 9, 10, it's like, all right, I'm a little tired. I need a break. So yeah, I'll definitely take it later in the season than at the beginning.
All right. Well, basketball is back. BetOnline remains your number 1 source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline. As your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. The Indianapolis Colts have a game this weekend on a Saturday. What do you think about these Saturday games there, Jerraud?
Well, as a fan, I like it. It gives you more to watch on TV, give you more reason to go have a drink with some friends or, go out to do certain things. So to know you got NFL on Saturday and Sunday, I like it. I like it as a fan. As a player, it kind of feels weird. You haven't done it since college. It feels like a college type mode, so Yeah, I bet as a player it feels kind of weird. You're not used to traveling on a Friday and things like that. So, but as a fan, I love it.
So the Colts are going to be having like 4 straight games of national broadcast games, right? This is the next in that line, and with how they performed last time on a nationally broadcast game, is this an opportunity for them to kind of make up for that god awful fourth quarter against the Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, you love the primetime games or the national televised games because it gives more eyes on you that can watch you, and then when there's more eyes watching you, you just never know who might be watching. People from other teams, scouts, GMs, you just never know. So as a player, you always look at it as an opportunity to show the world what you can do as a player, and then as a team, you want that opportunity again to kind of show the world that you have improved and you're better than that last showing. So, I know everybody's kind of, hanging their hat or not hanging their hat, remembering that fourth quarter debacle that happened with the Cowboys. So I'm pretty sure the guys are eager to, get to this Saturday and get that out of people's mind a little bit.
Absolutely. And the Indianapolis Colts, coming off their bye week, Minnesota obviously just losing to the Lions. And when we're looking at the health of teams right now, we was talking about this when we got started. Garrett Bradbury, their center, Christian Darrisaw, their left tackle, Jordan Hicks, Harrison Smith, they're all dealing with injuries. With the Indianapolis Colts coming off a bye week, looking a lot fresher than what they have. Um, what does that bring? Is it really that important, or is it more of a in all honesty, just the next man up and just deal with it?
Yeah, that's what it is because you can't make any excuses at the end of the day. So you're just dealing with whatever you got to deal with. If that's the cards that was dealt, you're just taking it and you're running with it. For the Colts, I mean, you kind of look at the bottom where they can kind of clean some things up. This is the first opportunity that Jeff really gets some time to really work hands on and do some things that he might not have had a chance to do the past few weeks just because things just been on a roll and you got to continue to just go with the flow of things. So when things slow down, such as a bye week, gives you time to really focus on certain things that you feel as a team you need to get better at, whether that's the O-line, secondary play, or wide receiver play, whatever the case may be. So you hope to see rejuvenated or different product coming out the bye from the coach standpoint. But, at that same token, from the Viking standpoint, they've been in a groove. You coming off a bad loss, which, of course it happens in the NFL. Everybody can have a bad loss. But when you're playing week after week after week, you're still in the routine of things, things that have not slowed down. Sometimes a bye can, like a hot team, let's just say Philly, for instance, they're on fire right now. And let's say they get in the playoffs and they get that first round bye. That can kind of stop that momentum a little bit that you've been playing with, so sometimes the bye can mess teams up, but in the case of the Colts, I think we kind of needed the bye to kind of clean up some things and get better at some things rather than the Vikings. It's just the next week for them.
Absolutely. No. The quarterback just been named. I think it was yesterday or today. I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. Saturday said that Ryan would be starting again, even though, the turnovers that he had. A lot of people think that maybe, they should go back and replace him after the game he had against the Cowboys. But I mean, come on. You just talked about you got a week to work things out, figure stuff out, kind of refresh yourself, your mind, your memory. And let's be honest here, the Colts mathematically still have a shot to make the playoffs.
They do. They do. And you need the best of the best at every position that you can get there. So right now, if they collectively as a group think that Matt gives us the best opportunity to win, you got to go with it, no matter if he's turning the ball over or not. If you don't feel like the other guys can do any better, then there's no point of even playing the other guys. And especially when you're talking about the investment money-wise that you gave Matt. You're trying to get your money's worth from an owner standpoint as well. And everybody knows. I mean, Matt's a professional. I mean, he knows what he needs to do to clean some things up. And hopefully, the start that we had, versus the Colts was a sign of progress in my standpoint. Start fast. We threw the ball down the field. Did some things that we haven't done all year, or some things that we haven't seen all year. So maybe in this bye week, we was able to put some things together and sure up some things to where when we going into this week, we kind of know exactly how we want to attack this thing. But like you said, I mean, Matt knows he has to protect the ball. That's been an issue for us to pass. I mean, the whole dang season. So he got to get better at that if we're going to even have a chance to win.
Absolutely. And we need to start seeing less turnovers, less personal mistakes, penalties and things of that nature.
Yep.
But I mean, we've had a bye week, guys. Be able to get through that. In my opinion, I think the next 4 games are more winnable for the Colts, like winnable wise, when it comes to the teams we're facing, as opposed to the last few weeks. Especially, we just got done facing the Cowboys and we was facing the Eagles, and those are 2, really hot teams right now. I think that the Minnesota Vikings is a beatable team if you look at their personnel, especially with the guys that might be injured. This is a defense that gives up 400 yards a game.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Goodness. And if you can't, the thing about the Colts is, if you can't get pressure on Matt Ryan is able to pick you apart and take advantage of that. They do have Zadarius Smith over there for Minnesota, but the next closest guy with sack wise is 3 sacks. So let's, you double down on Zadarius maybe. I think the Colts have a real shot here.
Yeah, I think you definitely got to keep your eyes on Zadarius Z and make sure that he can't impact the game. And if you do that and Matt has some time to sit in the pocket and dissect things, he'll definitely do some things. Now, you got to, think about, Harrison Smith. I don't know if he's going to be up or down, but he's banged up. And, you got Patrick Peterson over there that's having a good year as well. So you still got some guys in the secondary you're going to have to, make sure that you watch out for. But like you said, if we get some protection to where Matt can kind of sit in that pocket and dissect some things, I mean, I like our chances. I like, I like where our receivers are heading to as far as what they showed last week and, catching some of the downfield passes and things like that. And I think Matt will have his opportunity to take some shots.
Absolutely. I think so as well. And then our defense outside of the fourth quarter last week has played phenomenal football all year long. And they're going to need to do it again because this Vikings offense is loaded
from top to bottom. You got Kirk Cousins, and he's been, pretty much consistent, every year. He's going to put up numbers. That's what Kirk Cousins do. And then you got Dalvin Cook, and then you got Justin Jefferson and Thielen and, and all these guys. So it's going to be a good matchup for the defense, which I think we can match up well with them. Like you said, I know we had a bad fourth quarter versus the Cowboys. It happens, but they've been playing great ball all year. You just get back to doing what you do. And that's that. I think that's going to be the key to the victory if we're able to win this game. If we can slow down that passing game, even at the slightest, if we can slow it down and maybe force a turnover or two, because Kirk Cousins is known for giving guys opportunities to, get some turnovers or interceptions as well. I think that would put us in more of a better position to win that game, especially if we can get Jonathan Taylor back running how he's been running.
Absolutely. I think the key to this game is, in my opinion, I mean, we've already talked about, you can't turn the football over, shoot yourself in the foot, that kind of stuff. But the individual player on player matchups, I think, is going to be huge because, who's Patrick Peterson's going to be covering in this game, right?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, on the flip side, we got to know who's Gilly covering in this game, because you got 2 really good receivers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope Gilly follows Justin everywhere he goes, just off of the matchup alone. I think last week Gilly might have followed Gallup a little bit, just so you have more of an opportunity to try to double 88 for the Cowboys. But I think this week, even in the loss versus the Lions with the Vikings, Justin Jefferson goes for over 200 yards, I think. So I mean, if we got to triple cover the guy, triple cover him. We just can't let their best players get off. I mean, and that's simple as said. Do whatever you got to do to take their best players out of the game and make somebody else beat you. And if that happened, you rather live with that than looking, at the stats at the end of the game with the loss and the best players that they have was the ones that impacted the game.
Absolutely, and we was talking about earlier about MVPs for this year. Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, is he's one of those guys that I think non-quarterbacks right now.
Best wide receiver in the league?
Yep. I think right now.
Now, I'm not arguing.
Right now, that man, I mean, he's got, would you say he's got the best catch of the year so far?
I think he's had a couple good ones that can go up for the catch of the year. But he's having a phenomenal start to his career. I think, what's this, year 3 or year 2? This year 3. Year 3 for him, and I think he passed Randy Moss for most yards in their first 3 seasons. I think he passed Randy Moss and Jerry Rice for most yards in the first 3 seasons of a career. So it's something like that. But the guy, just to think that him, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow and all those guys was on the same team it's just crazy to even think about.
He's got 1,500 yards receiving right now.
With what, 4 games left?
Right. What kind of crazy stuff is that?
So he's definitely going to eclipse the 2,000 mark, right? He has to.
That is
he has to be up for MVP. You're right. He has to be up for MVP. Like, he has to be up for MVP. How many touchdowns?
Not as many. I will say that.
Okay.
He's got 6 touchdowns.
He gets double-digit touchdowns these past 4 games with over 2,000 yards receiving. He had, that might not happen ever again. Or it hasn't happened. I don't think that's happened.
I don't know. I know that Marvin has had really good years back to back, but I don't think he's never had a 2,000-yard receiving season.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think it's only been a couple guys that, maybe 1 or 2 guys that done that.
And every year he averages over 15 yards of reception for the season.
And that's big. People don't understand how big that is. That's huge.
Oh my goodness.
That's almost an explosive play per catch.
Right? That's nuts. Oh my goodness. And then, of course, Adam Thielen was the dude before he came, and he's still playing well.
He's playing well, and people don't even talk about him. People haven't mentioned Adam Thielen's name all year, and and everybody knows how good Adam Thielen is. So it's just wild to kind of see Justin Jefferson's success that he's having. That it kind of blocks out everybody else's success on that team.
How does the defense play against Dalvin Cook? Do you is this a game where you have a spy on Cook the whole time?
I mean, he's another one of those players that every time the ball's in his hand, he can take it the distance, whether he's catching it out of the backfield or running through the A gap. He's one of my favorite players in the league, just his style of running, man. I've always liked Dalvin Cook, even from his college days, but you got to rely on some type of scheme to show him, because you can't just put 8 in the box because it's going to leave you, outside one-on-one unless you just trust your matchups one-on-one, which Gilly has done that in the past. Gilly has guarded number 1 receivers with no help in the past. That's why we've always considered him a lockdown corner. But it's a risky move to do when you're talking about a guy with 1,500 yards with 4 games left. So I think you're going to have to pick and choose, kind of know when they're running the ball, when they're not. Rely on the analytics, rely on the data that you've gotten all week. And that's going to be the big deal with the DC and the OC is when we kind of can know when they're running the ball, and the OC trying to figure it out.
Absolutely. Now, if Christian Darrisaw, the first round pick from 21, their left tackle, if he does not play this game, Yannick Ngakoue has to have a good game. If he has a good game, then the Colts, I think, could play a lot of zone at that point because of the pressure and not allow the receivers to get in, the soft spots of the defense, because isn't that the best way to stop a running back like Cook is running a zone?
That's the best way to stop a passing game as well. If we can get pressure, period. If we can just cause havoc on Kirk Cousins, period. Whether he's handing the ball off or whether it's play action, whatever the case may be. That's how you stop those things. Whenever you're forcing a guy to get rid of the ball quick, you ain't got to worry about if Justin Jefferson is catching a ball 15 yards down the field, because he don't got time to run that to 15 yards. And like you said, stopping the run game. If we can win on the outside, far as our edge rushers, and make the ball stay in between the tackles, that's gonna give us a huge advantage, because everybody knows how fast Dalvin Cook is, and if he gets on the edge by any means, it's only so many people that can tackle him. So you're gonna have to try your best to try to keep him in between the tackles.
Yannick Ngakoue is on pace to possibly have his best year as a pass rusher. He's got 8.5 sacks right now. The most sacks he's had in a season is 12 back in 2017. Tell me a little bit about what you think of what you've seen from him this season.
I think he might have started a little slow. And when I say started slow, I'm just talking, getting sacks and all that. I think he's been playing, good as advertised, since he's been here. He's been a hell of a leader, and what he's been bringing into the locker room and to the team. But it seems like around the midway point, he hit his stride a little bit, or just getting pressure and starting to get sacks and making plays. But I think he's definitely, worth every penny, that we gave him. I mean, as far as just the kind of player that we needed added with the defense on top of the playmakers that we already got. I mean, people got to think, like, we haven't had our best player out there at all this season, but one or two games Maniac played. So, and his presence alone is going to free up other guys, so, for him to be off the field and these guys starting to see the success and starting to, get pressure and do the things that they do, it's only going to make them better going forward until next year and years for on, once we get everybody back healthy.
Absolutely. How do the Colts get themselves out of this rut offensively that they've been in this year and consistently been in this year?
Man, I don't care what they do. I think, as far as getting out of a rut, like right now we're at the point, let's just win by any means necessary. I don't care if we rush for negative 50 yards. If we win, it was well worth it, at the end of the day. Like, we're in survival mode right here. We know one loss will probably eliminate us, from getting in. So right now, I don't care about if, the offense looked better than they did the week before, or if Matt Ryan is throwing interceptions. The only thing I care about now is the end product. And right now it's about winning. So whatever we have to do to stay in the game and stay competitive and keep the game within reach and find ourselves in position to win the game, that's the only thing that matters to me right now. I know it's important for us to progress and get better, and we see that and all that. But at the end of the day, the offense can go out there and light it up and go for 600 yards, and Matt Ryan can throw 6 touchdowns. If we lose, it don't even matter. So whatever we got to do to just find a way to win, that's the only thing that I'm worried about right now.
So this is a 3-0 game. You're good with it as long as
I am good. Game. I am good with it. I am good with it.
Well, I mean, being a former defensive player, I would say 3-0. It'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I played in a game like that in college. I won
really?
a game. I won a game 3-2.
Oh my.
Auburn,
Wow.
and it was on primetime TV. Game Auburn, Mississippi State, and rest in peace, Mike Leach, as well. That I brought up, Mississippi State. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. But yeah, 2008, 3-2. Both defenses, was playing like we couldn't even let the other offense get past a 50, or you were going to lose. That's how bad both offenses were that night.
Oh my goodness. Your thoughts on how the rookie Alec Pierce has performed this year?
Kind of a slow start at first, adjusting. I think some people don't realize, once you do a full college season and then right when the season's over, you go right into the draft prep with the training and everything. Then it's the combine, then it's the draft, and then it's mini camp, then it's OTAs, then it's training camp. Like, he's been on a grind the past 2 years straight when you're talking about him starting his last college season and going into this season. So you saw him hit kind of a little wall to where we weren't even talking about Alec Pierce, at one part of the season. And then I think last week was a vote of confidence, and him going forward this week, you just hope to continue to see him just build and, just doing it brick by brick. But what I see from him is you're going to have a hell of a football player once he figure it all out. I mean, he's a big body. He's proven that he can catch the deep ball down the field versus tight coverage and all those things. It's just, when you're talking about certain positions, getting into the NFL, and then you look at our situation where, we don't have the long-term quarterback. Like, the offense has been struggling. The running game hasn't been what we hoped it to be to help out everything else. You're going to look at and start just blaming everybody for not being as good, or he should be doing this or that. I think that you saw the progress from OTAs and preseason and so far this season, that these last 4 games, you just hope to see him continue to build and get better and better, and hopefully the target number that he gets per game continue to go up as he, every chance that he gets to make a play, it seems like he makes it. So hopefully he gets more targets going forward.
One more thing before we get into our predictions, I want to talk about Paris Campbell and how not only he's right now, he leads the team in catch percentage, and he's the only wide receiver that has not missed a game all year.
That's big for him.
That's
huge. We talked about that at the beginning of the season, and I think it was either me or you, and the one thing that we said was, I know that one thing I remember saying was just like, man, his main thing is just staying healthy. If he's on the field, he can have an effect on the game, and I think he's proven that, like, hey, I'm healthy, I'm playing well. You see the excitement that he plays with. You see the explosive plays when he gets his opportunity, the catches that he's been making and things like that. So if he could continue to stay healthy, man, I like this group going forward. It's a young group, and if they can grow together, it can be a group in the future that can cause some problems for sure.
But the problem, I think the Colts have offensive weapons around the board. I like their tight ends. They're young and
can play. Show that they can play.
Yeah. And then obviously the running back Jonathan Taylor's a stud.
He's young as well.
And our top 3 receivers, not and going back further than the 3, but our top 3 receivers, I feel like you talked about, all have upside, and they all have different things that they bring to the receiver group. But with Paris Campbell, he's going to have to be re-signed this year. And that's an interesting question, because how much does the Colts offer a guy who, even if he stays healthy the rest of the year, was only able to stay healthy for 1 year during his rookie contract? Because right now, with what he's producing, he's a $10+ million wide receiver a year.
Yeah, and I hope guys get as much as they can get, but when it comes to being re-signed, sometimes it's about your play, but whatever that market says, whatever that market number is for you in the situation, which is going to be a lot of people hold the injuries over him, but just because, he's missed a lot of time over the course of his rookie time. So that'll be one of the things that he'll have to fight against when re-signing. But I definitely think he's earned himself some money this year. It might not be what he could have got if he's been healthy the past 4 years, but I think he's definitely deserved some type of compensation, whether it's from the Colts or another team. He's proved to be, an upcoming player with a ton of potential, to where if you sign him at a good number, you might get, the bang for your buck, lack of term, if that's what it is.
Yeah, I definitely don't want. I would love to re-sign him. I don't want him to hit the free market and then see a team like the Titans pick him up.
Get him or Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville and add to those weapons.
Oh my goodness, that'd be awful. Because we've seen firsthand how difficult. Paris Campbell's top 10 in the NFL right now in yards of separation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's impressive. So going into the game, 1 o'clock Saturday against the Vikings. Who you got and why?
Oh man. So just to throw the nugget out there, one of my best friends is Patrick Peterson. And he's been excited about this football team and what they've accomplished so far and, their aspirations. And, we haven't had the year that, we've hoped to have. But I'm going to go with my Colts. I'm going to say 28-24 Colts.
I've been all over the place, all over social media, on my own Discord, where I've got hundreds of people on there as well. No one is giving the Colts a shot in this game. And I am going to back you. I think the Indianapolis Colts win this. I think this is about matchups. I think the Colts match up well against this Vikings team, especially offensively. If they're missing certain players offensively, I think we could create problems defensive. We just can't have another fourth quarter like we did 2 weeks ago. Can't have that.
Yeah, you're right.
Again, I think the Colts put some points on the board. We're not going to hold the Vikings back, as you said, the whole game. It's just no possible way, I don't think. I see this as a 35-27 game.
Okay.
I got the Colts having the best game of the year offensively.
If we score 35, we're definitely winning. If we score 30 plus, we're definitely winning. I'll put that out there.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And for Jerraud Powers and myself, as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?